Thomas Castellanos, of course, Boston College quarterback, started his career at UCF. Going to be visiting Florida State on Wednesday. Is that a potential fit that you see there? Just looking at Castellanos, obviously loses the starting position this year, late in the season, to FIU transfer Grayson James. 15-14 touchdown interception ratio in 2023, improved that to 18-5 this season. Obviously a dual threat guy, over 1,000 yards rushing in 23. Not so much this year, had about 200 yards on the ground. Stylistically, Florida State, Norvell, the success that he had with Travis a couple years ago and his development as a whole, does this make sense to you?
All about the system fit here. And to me, the takeaway, by the way, you had a crystal ball from Castellanos to Florida State. I believe it was on 3, threw in the crystal ball. It makes a lot of sense. The momentum is building for this. You have, perfect fit here. I don't know if he's being sarcastic, our guy Audrey, because Kane's Cat 305 asking, what's the mentality taking a quarterback that quit in his team and now bring him to a broken culture? Of course, Kane's fan here, so it's going to be a little biased. But I think with Bill O'Brien, it was just not going to work with Castellanos. He's a running quarterback. That's what he is. That's what he's about. That's what makes him unique. If you put him into a pro-style system, cold weather, it just doesn't match. He's not a Boston College quarterback. He's certainly not a Bill O'Brien quarterback. Bring him into the warmer weather, bring him into a Gus Malzahn system, the fit makes a lot more sense. But to me, the interesting thing is you have Mike Norvell, who's made his name as an offensive guy, basically saying, look, you, Gus Malzahn, you had the keys to the offense. Who's the quarterback that fits what you do? Castellanos, 1,000 yards, over 1,000 yards last year, knows the league, has succeeded against the league, definitely is. The athleticism translates without question to this league, but they're going all in on Gus Malzahn's style of offense. It will work. I don't know, but you can't say that they're doing it halfway. They are fully committed.
And then as that news hits with Castellanos' Florida State visit happening on Wednesday, Florida State loses freshman quarterback Luke Kromenhoek, who saw some time this season. D was a big recruit last year. Some would say top 35. Others would say it was, maybe a little bit more than that, into the 50, 60 range. But a guy who it's very tough to judge because of what was around him at Florida State in terms of the offensive line struggles. The skill talent was not where you are accustomed to at Florida State either. So it'll be interesting to see where he lands, what sort of schools are in the mix for him, because I think there's some stuff to work with there based on what I saw this year, again, with limited help around him.
Yeah, to me, this is a very intriguing guy if you're the team getting him in the portal. He's basically a freshman with experience. He's played games. You saw him against Miami having that long touchdown run where he emerged from the pile, has decent amount of experience for someone who's still very much a projection. Did not have a very good offensive line, did not have very good receivers, to say the least. With him or without him, this was one of the worst offenses in the country. So he could not have had a worse situation, but at least he got the experience with him. He's somebody who's from the South. He's from the Georgia area. I'm looking at a team like Georgia Tech. Now, you do have other quarterbacks in the mix, but if I'm Georgia Tech, he fits like a glove because he is mobile and can throw. Other schools, maybe an Ole Miss, which has had success with quarterbacks that got squeezed out. Yet Jackson Dart getting squeezed out of USC. He comes there and reshapes his whole career. They do have a young quarterback in Austin Simmons who they like. We'll see. You could redshirt Luke. You don't have to play him right away. If you sell him on a vision, he can come in as a backup, wait his turn, and be developed. But interesting because, again, I go back to this. Luke Kromenhoek is a Mike Norvell type of quarterback. That's who he recruited for his system. So the fact that you're going from your guy, your type of guy, to Thomas Castellanos is just a total surrender is a strong word, but just the deference paid by the head coach, $10 million a year head coach, to the new offensive coordinator who's been in the national championship game and saying, we're going with your style of quarterback.
And then there's this post here from Zach Blostein on Noles 247 saying FSU had been negotiating with Kromenhoek and his family in recent days. At various points, it seemed like Kromenhoek was planning to stay. However, his camp continued to demand more money, 7 figures, and it didn't seem likely the two sides were going to agree on that. Not a great look. We'll see if he does indeed follow through with portaling out.
So we'll monitor that situation to see if he does, in fact, follow through. I think with Castellanos coming in, the writing is on the wall where this offense goes. And look, if you're FSU, it's hard to build a pro-style attack from where you are now overnight. There's a lot of pressure to win next year, right? So you had the worst or second worst offense in the country, basically you and Purdue battling for that last spot, certainly in the Power Four. So to build a truly complete pro-style offense is hard. You have to build the backfield. The running game was one of the worst in the country. You have to build up the receivers. You have to build up the offensive line, maybe build up the body types on the offensive line, get some tight ends, although they do have some 2 young ones that they can build around. There's a lot of work to be done. If you switch to a Malzahn type of offense, you're at least coming with a different look that teams in the ACC aren't ready for necessarily. You do have Brett Lashley in SMU, and you see the success he's had with a team that maybe didn't have the most talent, the highest rated recruits. They've, with that style of offense, Brett Lashley, a Gus Malzahn disciple, you've seen what they've been able to do. Switch the offense, get portal guys that fit your system that maybe don't fit other systems, and you can catch teams off guard, really jumpstart that offense. Reminds me, look, Brett Lashley, who we were just talking about, he did the same thing for UM when he came into an offense that was really struggling, a quarterback room that was really struggling in 2019. Injected some life right away, brought in De'Ara King, who fit his offense more as an experienced passer. That offense jump-started right away. He carried that success to SMU. Now he's in the playoff. You got Duke trying to recreate that magic, potentially with TVD. And now you see the mentor, Gus Malzahn, maybe trying to do something similar in his role now as offensive coordinator for the Florida State Seminoles.